Today on the Technology Guy, I've got 3 tips and tricks to help you get the most out of the Zoom Podtrak P8. Thanks for watching the Technology Guy. Today, we're going to take a look at 3 tips and tricks for the Zoom Podtrak P8. Now, this is going to be a quick video, so before we get started, go ahead and subscribe, turn on those notifications, share, and like the video. Now that you've done all that, let's talk about the Podtrak P8. So I've been using it more over the last few weeks instead of the Rodecaster Pro. I still really like the Rodecaster Pro's built-in noise reduction, but with the Podtrak P8 and a little, in post noise reduction, which you can do really, really quickly, I think that it does have a really good sound, and it's grown on me. And like I've said, it's starting to be my go-to when I'm recording videos. Honestly, it's still overkill for doing YouTube videos, but I do enjoy using it. So let's get to those tips. Number 1, if you're using it as a USB audio interface, make sure your USB volume is up so that you don't have to use too much gain. If you don't have the USB volume up and you set the gain on the Podtrak mic, the input on the mic to the ideal range that's showing on the screen on the Podtrak, that level is not necessarily going to go over the USB interface, and then you're going to have a low volume being recorded into whatever app that you're recording into. Now, as an example, I currently have the gain set correctly on the Podtrak, and I'm using Streamlabs OBS that I'm recording into. So if I turn the volume down on the USB interface, you will hear how even though the gain is correct on the Podtrak, it's being limited by the volume knob on the USB interface on the Podtrak. So this is what you end up with, and I'm watching the levels in Streamlabs OBS, so I'm not sure how well you're hearing me right now. So I'm going to turn it back up, and then we're more into normal levels of what you see in OBS, but the levels on the Podtrak haven't changed. So you've got to make sure that you've got that USB volume knob turned so that you're getting the right levels in whatever application that you're using. Because if you try to fix that in post, if you turn this all the way down, and then you try to introduce, adding gain to it in post, all you're going to do is introduce noise into it. Same way if you're trying to use the mic gain to increase the volume going out through USB, you're just going to introduce noise into your audio. So make sure that you've set the gain on the mic on the Podtrak, and you can watch it if you have it set to mic. This is on mic 1. So if you set that and make sure that it's showing up in the good level on the Podtrak, then you're also going to check your software that you're recording into and make sure you're getting good levels there, and then adjust as you need using the USB out volume knob. So you have to keep in mind that the gain needed when you're recording into the Podtrak isn't necessarily going to be the same when you're recording into an app on your PC or your Mac. So be sure to set the levels on both the Podtrak and in whatever software that you're recording into. So number 2, formatting the SD card is going to cause you to lose any custom sound pad files that you've saved to the SD card. And I know that's common sense if you ever formatted an SD card, but trust me, you'll want to clear the card and you'll get in a hurry. And instead of doing it the manual way, you're going to go in here and hit format and then realize you've lost all your custom sounds or any sounds that you've loaded onto the SD card. You can delete the files individually and quickly when you're in USB transfer mode, or you can format and then just copy the sound pad files back to the SD card. Of course, make sure you've got them backed up. But this is one of those things you don't have to worry about on the Rodecaster, since it has the internal memory for those custom sounds. So this next part I'm going to call tip 2.1, because if you're worried about losing your custom sound files, or even if it's that you just want to have more sounds than the pads will allow, You can use a tablet or a phone as a soundboard. There are many apps out there that will let you record your own sounds and apps that have hundreds of preset sounds. There are free options and options that cost as much as $65, which is Soundboard Studio Pro. And I'll show you one of the free options so that you can get an idea of what you can do. And let's just use, which I've currently got my iPhone connected to Bluetooth using the BTA to Bluetooth adapter. And then I've got just an ad-based app where you can play custom sound files. So, instead of using these built-in sound pad like that, you can also use anything that you can use it with more than just this sound pad. But this does give you the option to use a lot more sound pads or sound files, and you can just load onto one bank of this, which, there's probably 60 just on this one app that I'm using. So that's an option that you can do. Instead of using the sound pad, you can connect Bluetooth or TRRS, or if you're running the Podtrak on battery, if you're using it remotely or whatever, then you can connect your phone via the USB interface and play those same things that way. And of course, connecting a phone or tablet allows you to do more than just playing sound pad files. You can play news clips, music, audio from other YouTube videos, whatever sound source that you want. All you have to do is connect your phone or tablet via that Bluetooth, TRRS, or the USB port, and you have access to any sound source that's on your device. So number 3 is all about connecting your Podtrak P8 to your tablet, iPad, phone. You can use the Zoom Podtrak P8 connected to any tablet or phone as a recording device. This may sound like something that isn't needed since you're just going to record directly into the Podtrak anyway, but recording into a phone or a tablet gives you the ability to go ahead and upload your podcast without the need for a laptop. You can record into GarageBand, Voice Memo, Zoom's own app, which is Handy Recorder that you can get on iPhone or Android. You can record into any app that's going to save audio to your phone or tablet, and that's going to allow you to quickly post a podcast. And most podcast hosts also have apps that you can record directly into as well. And I think on here I've got Anchor, Podbean. Those are the two that I have on here that I've been testing a little bit with. They're going to detect the Podtrak as a USB microphone. So any number of microphones that you have plugged in up to if you're using Bluetooth, and any of the mic inputs that you have, you can record directly into your podcast hosting app and into your account. This is a test using the Podtrak P8 recording into Podbean. And another great thing is that with the USB connection, you can go into USB transfer mode, and you can copy files from the Podtrak to your phone or tablet. So if you don't record directly into your mobile device and you want to get a podcast uploaded quickly, you can just copy the stereo file over to the mobile device and then upload it. And if you have someone else editing your podcast, then you can either upload the stereo file, or you can upload any of the individual tracks that it does record. You can just grab those through the USB transfer mode into your phone, and you can send them to Dropbox or send via email. And that gives you a quick way to get those files to wherever you need. And the last great benefit of being able to have everything so portable and being able to connect to your phone is you're able to do a live show from anywhere. So with your Podtrak connected to a phone or tablet with Wi-Fi or data, and you're running off the batteries that you can put into the Podtrak, you can host a live show with multiple guests from almost anywhere. I'm sure there are more, but there's services like Spreaker or Podbean, their apps allow you to not only record, but to go live as well. So there are my 3 tips and tricks with the Zoom Podtrak P8. And for me, tip number 3 with the phone connection, doing file transfers and the ability to live podcast from anywhere. I mean, those are the really killer features that I found. Now, and those features make the Podtrak P8 a really powerful mobile podcasting solution. Now, if you haven't already, don't forget to subscribe and share this video, and let me know what you think in the comments about the Podtrak P8, and if you think the Rodecaster can really match the portability that the Podtrak is really proving that it has. So thanks again for watching The Technology Guy, and I'll see you next time.